This episode is killing me, guys, and I don't mean in a weird Gordon way. So we're going to cut all the BS and get right into it. Episode 8 starts with Gordon. You'll remember him as the prospective buyer of Dale Lacey's home in episode 4. This is a flashback to when he taught in Des Moines, and he looks to be interviewing one of his PhD candidates. They discuss two things of note, evolutionary psychology and humanism, referencing Aldous Huxley and Carl Rogers, two prominent humanists. The key principle of humanism being that a person has control over their own behavior, that a person has freedom of choice and is responsible for his own self-direction. This would be a direct contradiction to the events in this show, as it seems there have been many instances where characters do not have control over their own behavior. Apparently this dude had sex with Gordon's wife, so he does what any upstanding professor would do and bashes his face in with a notepad. This likely resulted in him being fired, hence Gordon and his wife's move to Castle Rock. We're back in the scene from episode 4, but this time it's from Gordon's perspective. You can make out a photo of Dale and Martha Lacey in the background, as well as Dale's cremains, which Gordon found in the freezer. Gordon stares at the picture of Castle Lake, the same area where Dale drove his car off in episode 1. Check out the name of the moving company, Out of Dodge, a reference to the television show Gunsmoke, in which the term get out of Dodge was often told to the villains.
And you get out of Dodge.
Gordon puts a sign up for the Castle Rock Historic Bed and Breakfast, a new business to attract dark tourism where he hopes to recreate murders in exquisite detail, hence the mannequins. For what it's worth, I tried checking out the website, but nothing came up. Here we see another mannequin in the tub, eerily similar to the dead body we see in the same tub in episode 2. Gordon's wife tells him she found the key to the basement that Henry inquired about with Martha. Down there she finds dozens of paintings of the kid. Is this also the basement where Henry was kept ages ago? The ones we've seen in his flashbacks? We'll get to that a bit later. Gordon paints one of his mannequins when his wife comes in looking for some sexy time. She asks, "Can't we just say it never happened?" But it's clear he's still not over her cheating. In the next scene, we see the mannequin with an axe through its head. The first of many mannequins Gordon hopes to transform into murderous recreations of Castle Rock's past. We learn he did his PhD paper on the BTK killer Dennis Rader, BTK standing for bind, torture, and kill, the way in which Dennis murdered his 10 victims. Gordon is clearly annoyed at his establishment's first lodgers. They don't seem to be interested in the B&B experience, rather they themselves are looking for a secluded getaway to cheat on their spouses, and we know how Gordon feels about cheaters. At night, Gordon hears them having sex and leaves the room. His wife wakes up looking for him and stumbles upon him having murdered them. This guy clearly has some rage issues. Is it possible Gordon is Gordy, the little boy we saw the kid watch in episode 5? I went back and rewatched the scene and heard something really crazy, and I'm going to play it for you, so listen up. Right after Happy Birthday, you can hear a weird sex moan.
Happy birthday, dear Gordy.
Did you hear it? Okay, that's a bad Castle Rock pun, but notice also the knife, perhaps foreshadowing what Gordon would do in the future. Molly wakes up experiencing the same flashes that Henry has in the anechoic chamber. We see a lot of stuff we've seen before, but I'll focus on the new pieces, notably the rope, like that found in Dale Lacey's garage, the axe, water heater, the kid acting shocked at what he sees, and a man holding a screwdriver who we've seen flashes of in previous episodes. This likely indicates that this man is the kid, holding the screwdriver to get Henry out of the cage. You'll remember Dale Lacey used a similar tool to build the cage for the kid in the water tank. Molly saves Henry from the chamber, and as they escape we see Odin's dead body, stabbed through the eye with one of the hot pokers. Now we don't know if it was Willie who did it, or perhaps even Molly herself. Molly has been known to be out of control of her body from time to time. Molly drops Henry off. He's starting to realize that Molly can actually feel what he's feeling. They make up, Molly saying it's okay because people have been calling me crazy my whole life. Pretty ironic since the last thing Henry said to her before the chamber was, "You're fucking crazy." Henry comes home and finds everything is clean as opposed to the bloody mess of last night. Ruth is sleeping, and after everything that happened to her in the last episode, it's good to see her finally getting some rest. Henry confronts the kid in the kitchen. Remember, he last dropped him off at Juniper Hill and doesn't know about the escape. Henry tells Wendell to go upstairs and lock the door. The kid leads Henry to the body of Alan, saying they need to dispose of it to protect Ruth. The kid has been waiting for Henry for 27 years, and it's revealed that it was him who rescued Henry from that basement. But before anything can be done, Wendell calls the police and the cops arrive. Gordon dismembers one of the bodies, putting it into pieces just like one of his mannequins. When Jackie arrives, we hear on the radio that the Juniper Hill patients lit their mattresses on fire at the same time, and that the suspect, the kid, is still on the loose. Gordon's wife helps him with the body, perhaps her way of making it up to him for cheating. That's love, ladies and gentlemen. Jackie Torrance arrives wanting to check out Castle Rock's newest attraction. Gordon remarks, "You know your axes." Of course she would, she's the niece of Jack Torrance. She's quickly ushered out of the house while Jackie picks up on their weird vibes. She finds an odd-shaped ornament in what appears to be blood, so she does what any normal person would do and licks it. What's with these people in this town licking things? Henry talks to Wendell about Alan's body being discovered. You'll notice a book by Joseph Campbell, Goddesses, on display. Joseph Campbell is one of the greatest academics on mythology. If you want to learn a bit more about him, check out my video on Home Alone and the hero's journey. We learn that Wendell was afraid and spent the night at the church. Henry goes to talk to Ruth, who has really lost her mind. She thinks Alan is still alive and that she killed Matthew, her husband, not Alan. And perhaps she did, in an alternate timeline. In a conversation with the police, they're treating the murder as if the kid did it, letting Ruth off the hook, for now. The cop calls Henry the Black Death because every time he comes around, bad stuff happens. Henry sends Wendell back to Boston. Wendell pleads for him to come with, but Henry has unsettled business to attend to. Wendell says that he learned more about his father in one day from his dementia-ridden grandmother than from his own father in his entire life. A bird smashes into the bus just like one did in episode 6, leading me to believe either the schisma or Henry is causing these freak disturbances. In an interesting twist, Wendell begins to hear the schisma, extremely loud no less. Henry and Molly discuss his encounter with the kid, and he inquires about the new owners of Dale Lacey's home. Molly tells him Martha couldn't find the key, probably because she was blind. Henry breaks into the Lacey basement, and you'll notice the same type of brickwork like Henry saw in his flashbacks. I'm not 100% sold that this is the same basement, but it's a possibility. Upstairs, Henry finds a room filled with Dale Lacey's paintings of the kid. He takes them out of their frames, noting different dates. He locks on the painting you'll recognize from his flashback in the anechoic chamber. It's dated 1991, the same year the kid was captured by Dale and that young Henry disappeared. They're both wearing the same striped shirt, perhaps leading us to believe that the kid is Henry in an alternate universe. Molly begins to see more visions. Young Henry, chasing him in the forest, what appears to be the backside of the kid, a bloody knife that we saw briefly in the anechoic chamber, and herself in the forest. Is that Odin behind her? Finally, we see her covered in blood. A figure walks over her, likely the kid. To deal with these visions, she downs 4 pills, more than her usual half of one. Henry snaps photos of the paintings when he's caught by Gordon. He gets up to leave when he's stabbed by Gordon's wife. A scuffle ensues in which Gordon is stabbed and the wife is well.
Fatality.
Henry runs and gets in his car but is attacked by Gordon, and it looks like Gordon is about to win when Jackie Torrance saves the day with an axe. I guess good axe work runs in the family. Molly swerves on the road, high from the insane amount of drugs she's just taken. Wendell gets off the bus at a stop called Jerusalem's Lot, which some of you King fans may recall from Salem's Lot. Looks like he's on his way back home. Note that Jerusalem was also the town where Jesus was both crucified and resurrected. The police arrive at Dale Lacey's and Jackie explains how she came to save Henry. Is it possible she has some form of The Shining, which led her back to him? She also says, I wasn't myself anymore. Was someone controlling her? Remember, Jackie and the kid likely touched way back in episode 5. There's even a theory that they had sex. Molly arrives home to find the kid waiting for her on the stairs. She asks where Henry is, and he says, I don't think he's ready yet. You could help me because you know me. Henry gets a call from Reverend Appleton saying that her mom came in asking if Alan was alive or dead. She seemed confused but ran off. Is she seeing him alive in an alternate universe, or is it just her dementia? He rushes off to her, evading police and now making him ever more suspicious in these string of murders that keep happening. The police even refer to him as a suspect. Back with Molly, the kid is able to tell her about her past, where all the things in the house used to be, how she painted her fingernails with whiteout and shone her flashlight up the hill. She asks asks how he knows, to which he replies, "I was there." This could be possible to know if the kid was some sort of alternate universe Henry. It starts to snow as the two look out the window, and every time it snowed so far in this show, it's been a dream, so keep that in mind. The shocking reveal at the end comes when the kid says, "Out there in the woods, that's where you died." Now this could mean a few things. That she's already dead, hence why the kid says she's ready, as opposed to why Henry isn't. The idea here being that Molly swerved off the road when she was high on Vicodin. Another theory is that she died in the alternate universe where the kid is from, and that the turkey vultures flying over Puck's body that Ruth sees in episode 7 are actually hovering over Molly's. Also know that what she's wearing in the car is not the same as what she's seen wearing in the flashback of her covered in blood in the forest. So there are still a bunch of unanswered questions, and with just 2 episodes left, I don't know how they're going to answer them all. The next episode is called Henry Deaver, where we'll likely learn who or what exactly Henry is, and the pieces should start falling into place. As always, if you like this video, make sure to like and subscribe. Leave your theories below, I love to read them, and stay tuned every Thursday for more Castle Rock breakdowns. See you then.